Bro, this topic's so that I don't even want to do the intro, I'm not gonna lie. Like I could, the Jeffrey to Adonis is, it's like a little bit of humor and everything, but I'm really processing and visualizing like the entire porn industry. All this time in terms of with porn and stuff, I've always kind of visualized like, millions, hundreds of millions of like younger men watching it. Like visualize that right now. Imagine like you're flying through the sky or something. You can see through like the roofs of houses and you're seeing like men watching porn, like millions of men watching porn. And it's the thing that's really fucked up our generation. Now do the same thing, but instead of it being men who are watching it, it's little boys, because that's what's happening. It's honestly making me like, I feel sick. It's making me feel a little bit breathless when I think about the scope of this problem and like flashes of like, the shit that goes on in like porn industries. I remember when I was like a full on like fapper and I was like 16, 17, 18 and there was the first kind of talk of like, oh, like there's bad things happening in the porn industry. The porn stars are being treated unfairly and everything. And I hated them and like, no, you can't say that you're being treated unfairly because you're making money from having sex. And I never like believed those criticisms. And more as I'm becoming like more mature and educated, and it's been so long since I've like been like a porn watcher, and I hear about like stories of what goes on for those women and even guys who are in the porn industry. I don't keep up to date with like news and stuff, but I remember there was like a big criticism against Pornhub that it was like somehow like encouraging like child porn. I remember there being stories of like porn actresses being like drugged and even raped. And I know that you're watching this and you'll be like, wait, they can't be raped because they're taking dick on camera. That's two separate things. Porn has to be like it shouldn't really exist and shit, you know what I mean? But it's like, it should be consensual. It has to be consensual. But the amount of videos where it's not, the amount of videos where like women or even guys are like tricked into it, like young people are tricked into it. I remember like tweets saying like, you don't even know which one you're watching is a child, like is a 16-year-old girl, is a 17-year-old girl. The whole thing's really dark. The sex industry is perhaps like the oldest industry of mankind, really. It's like perhaps like the oldest job ever is like to be a whore. We say whore is like an insult in the modern day, but whore was like literally like a job. And it's perhaps like the oldest kind of job. It's interesting when you really think about it in that way. It's like, oh yeah, like it is like a profession that has passed through like hundreds, thousands of years of like humans. And it's interesting to think about like the dark sides of it that you've never known that you have contributed to, or you've always wanted to turn a blind eye to it because you're getting your nut. And like those porn stars, well, they're the bad people somehow, and we make fun of them as well. Like the porn actresses who have got children and they're trying to reintegrate with normal lives, we make fun of them. They get bullied online, they kill themselves. I remember my friend's favorite porn star, I was about to laugh, bro. Fucking hell, I was literally about to tell you the story and almost like laugh, like, oh, she killed herself. Bro, that's that's so when you think about it. The whole industry's so oh my god, like this is the first time that I'm actually like viewing it from the outside and just thinking like how the entire thing is. Like I'm seeing flashes of like the porn videos that I've watched, just thinking like it's not just pixels on the screen. Like that's like a real like studio or something where like a bunch of guys are recording this woman who's maybe a mother who's gonna be paid $100 for this clip. I remember one of the companies, like the brands that were like going famous about the time that I stopped watching porn was like girlsdoporn.com, something like that, like girls do porn. And I'd always see like gifs, and like on Reddit it's like gifs, so it's like a little like 4-second clip of like a video or something. Those would go like viral, and it'd be like, cute looking girls having sex or something. And then I remember like criticisms of that brand come up and say like those women were like manipulated to be there. They were told they would be paid more. It always felt like an us versus them. Like, no, like those girls, like they deserve it. Why did I hate them so much? I know we can say, oh, because like, they're the porn stars and we're all addicted to porn, but it's like, is the woman who goes on to like, to be featured in like a porn video, is she the bad person because she needed like, she wanted money or so she wanted fame or something? Or is it like the big porn companies, or is it everyone? It's such a weird thing, man. I remember being in high school, I think maybe age 13 or 14, and like watching it with my one friend. Like we were just kind of like in his house, and he like put on some like porn clip on like the big TV, and we just like sat there just watching it. Like it's weird. Like I'm really seeing like the dark sides to it that I've never really thought about before, but I'm like almost visualizing it from like the porn star's perspective. The first time that I jacked off, like to the first thing I still remember, I won't say the model's name because I don't want you to kind of like, search her up and like reset your notepad streak or something. But I remember my friend, we were inside school and my friend told me to search up this woman's name and write clean at the end of it. So I wrote clean, and it's like quite provocative sexual pictures of her, but no full nudity. And I was like, oh my god. So then I got the idea, wait, what if I search up the same name but dirty when I get home? I did it, and she's there with like titties out and like whipped cream on it. Like this was like old school. I must have been fucking 13 years old. This would have been like 2010 or something like that. And it was the first time that I jacked off. And just like a minute ago, I had the mindset, oh no, but you know, like the sort of porn that is more just, you know, one woman just kind of like posing for like some photo shoot isn't that bad. But then I started visualizing, imagine like you're invisible in that room. Like what's going to happen? Imagine there's like a bunch of like smelly photographers and, you know, like directors or something. Like, you know, they're telling, okay, the woman, like, you know, do this, bend over, do this, do this. And imagine like this kind of thing was happening hundreds of thousands of times around the world with like, you know, photo shoots of women like being sexual. How many times of those hundreds of thousands did those like directors and cameramen get like too touchy with that promise of like, you know, this is gonna go viral, just suck my dick? The whole thing's f***ed, man. I do remember there being like of like, you know, don't use Pornhub and everything. Honestly, bro, the number one thing that we can do is just be on NoFap. Be on NoFap, no porn. Don't support that shit. That's f***ing disgusting. All of it. Even if like there's consensual sort of healthy parts of it, but even then it's like, it's still terribly bad for you. Fuck. It's really, I mean, it's like, it's f***ing dark. Holy shit. Like there's little boys watching this shit, man. Who is Jeffrey in this case? Like, you know, Jeffrey watches porn, hee hee, but it's like, is it like, you know, the young man, the young boy's fault? Is he really Jeff? What the f***? Like, I think I might have been saying this all wrong, you know, all this time. I've been like, oh, you know, Jeffrey watches porn, he's addicted to porn, but it's like, is it bad? Like, is the young man, is the f***ing boy, the 13-year-old, is he like bad for watching it? Like, yeah, it's bad for you and you shouldn't watch it and stuff. But like, with how hyper stimulating it is, how addictive it is, how much like shame and guilt, you know, that there is around it. So you want to keep it by yourself. You're not going to talk about it and everything. Is like a 13-year-old who somehow stumbles upon it and then gets like addicted to it. Is he bad? Is he Jeffrey? I don't think so. So who's Jeffrey in this case? I think it's like the porn companies and the porn directors and shit then. That's fucked, man. I don't know what else to say. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.